Hey, Derek Rydall here, founder of the Law of Emergence and author of the best-selling books Emergence and the Abundance Project. And just want to take a moment today. Hopefully this won't be a very long training, but it'll maybe be one of the more important ones you've heard in recent memories. And that is on this series I'm doing, Matter versus What Matters. Looks like I had a plant coming out of my head. But matter versus what matters. And in this part 4, we're talking about the gift of loss. And I know something of loss. Many of us know something of loss over the last year, and maybe just in general. Much of the world is experiencing a degree of loss and a loss of control and crisis and tragedy that many people around the world and in certain cultures have experienced for decades, if not even longer. And so the whole world is finally having a joint experience of the challenge and the pain of loss of rights, or seeming loss of rights, loss of control, of sickness, of death, of economic challenge, etc. We're all in this together now. And myself personally, I had the tragic loss of my son over the last year. In fact, we're just coming up upon next month, it'll be a year anniversary. And while I don't wish any loss upon anyone, I recall the Dalai Lama saying many years ago when they asked him, what did he wish for America? And he said, I wish for America more suffering. And so we understand from spiritual texts the actual purpose and benefit of struggle and even suffering is about cracking through the calcified and crystallized egoic structures and identities and attachments, because we otherwise wouldn't let go of them. We otherwise would not really change. And it allows us to open up to deeper realms of reality, to greater possibilities and all of that. It's one of the reasons why surrender, when it comes from deep crisis, we can tend to have a powerful breakthrough and a powerful opening. And even in some cases where people are suffering from diseases and they think they're going to die and there's no more hope, in a moment of complete surrender, something cracks open and they touch something beyond the physical, beyond matter, beyond what they've conceived of before, a map of reality or identity, and there's a spontaneous remission or healing. Now, barring that, there's a gift to loss. And again, I lost my son this last year, and it's needless to say the most tragic, most painful, most difficult experience of my life. He's the love of my life. He was the first individual to really teach me unconditional love. And now he's teaching me true unconditional love, divine love. And what I experienced through this journey with my son, and I'd already been experiencing it, just through my spiritual practice over the years, as I would hit crises and challenges and recognize that the crisis is designed to crack us open, just as the forest fire is designed to crack open certain seed pods so that they release their progeny and allow for the growth and the evolution of nature. Likewise for us, our greatest challenges are there to crack us open. But there's another level that I just want to speak about when it comes to matter versus what matter, when it comes to that which we can see, touch, taste, and measure, which I've been talking about in these talks, in this series, versus that which we cannot see, touch, taste, and measure, and that which we cannot measure, that which is immeasurable, is actually what's more real than that which is measurable. And that the greatest artists, innovators, thought leaders, change makers, spiritual masters, etc., are those that have one way or the other broken through what is measurable and just the matter of life to what really matters, or to a deeper, immeasurable dimension of life. They've touched something that is more infinite, more eternal. And as a result, they've brought forth a new iteration, a new evolution, a new revelation. And it's allowed for the progress or the evolution of humanity or of a certain domain of humanity. And whenever we lose something physically, whenever we have to let go of an identity, whenever our hopes are dashed, we're disillusioned and disappointed, there's a powerful opportunity to discover something that is even more real than that which we've lost. And even if we're afraid of losing something, there's an opportunity to discover more of that which is real, which is immeasurable, which is infinite, eternal, which is something that cannot be taken away from us because it's an intrinsic part of us. That when we talk religiously about the kingdom of heaven, or in Buddhism, nirvana, or the Tao, we're talking about a dimension of reality that is eternal, that is never born, and it never therefore can be diminished, destroyed, or die. And that is an essential part of our nature. It's our true nature. There's a real self here. There's a real body here. There's a real home here. There's real wealth, real health, real love, real peace, and real joy. And none of these have ever been given to us. They are essential. They are our essential nature, and therefore they can also never be taken away. And then those real qualities manifest in our experience as relative projections of an infinite perfection. Our experience of this material body is a relative, temporary, and temporal expression of body, which is actually an infinite and eternal and indestructible idea and activity of our consciousness, of our being. And our home, the physical manifestation of home, is again a relative, temporal, and temporary manifestation of a much larger, really an infinite idea of home. And likewise, my relationship to my son, this relationship of love, of father and son, is so much more and so much bigger than that human concept of father and son. And the loss of my son, I had two choices. It was just go down with the ship, just be destroyed by it. But because of my commitment to awakening into truth, that wasn't really a choice, but it certainly felt like it was. And I certainly felt like I wanted to die in moments. But ultimately, because of my practice and commitment, I've done and continue to do the work, and eventually discovered that when this form of love, in this case, father and son, was shattered, that because of my commitment to awaken, to know the truth that makes me free, to be an instrument of more truth and more love, to really know what is real, it has begun to open me up to touch a love that is no longer confined by that form, that a life that is no longer confined by a life form, a relationship that is no longer confined by personalities. My love for my son is so much bigger, and it's so much purer, and it's so much more indestructible. It cannot be shaken. I loved him beyond what I can imagine, but there was also a personality there, and there was clashes and personality challenges, and there's just all kinds of humanness involved. When that's taken out of the picture, now I'm having an opportunity to know him, to love him, to be connected to him in a way that is infinite, truly infinite, and a love that is truly infinite, and a love that continues to break my heart, because my heart cannot possibly hold it. And really, grief is ultimately the signal that there's more love trying to come through. And so as it's broken my heart daily, it's also allowed my heart to have the capacity to hold more and more love, to have more and more love for humanity, to have more and more love for everybody, to be able to go into the infinite depths of love of the real Father and the real Son, which are one. And then to be able to take that love and shine it on everybody and shine it back on myself. And so my son is once again my greatest teacher of love. But the same principle is true with anything. I remember when I was going through the potential of needing to have a divorce from my marriage, his mother of over 20 years. And one of my biggest concerns was I'm going to get a divorce and then I'm going to lose everything. I'm going to lose my home. I'm going to lose my family. I'm going to lose reputation. I'm going to lose my financial abundance that I built. And what I had to do first and foremost was certainly not stay in a relationship because of those things, but also not necessarily leave a relationship until I had found the equivalent of all of those forms. I'd found a deeper relationship to family, a deeper relationship, again, to love, to companionship, to home, to abundance that was not in the world. And as I began to discover that and develop that, then it became clearer and clearer and clearer, and I was ready to complete that contract in that marriage and step out. Now, there was still a difficult period, a dark night of the soul. And a dark night of the soul is where you can't see. You can't feel God. You can't see, things seem to have gone away. You've lost a lot. It feels like you're losing a lot. But actually, what the purpose of a dark night of the soul or of any kind of loss is that you can begin to detach from your over-identification with that which is in form, that which is limited, that which is actually limiting your identity of yourself and your ability to be more fully expressed in life, and to actually touch something that is more real and therefore sets you free. When you realize that, maybe you're in a job and you really don't want to be there, but you also are too afraid to leave and go for your dreams because you're like, well, what am I going to do for money? Or this is the source of my abundance. And when you realize you're afraid of losing that, it's really a signal that it's time to start digging deeper and finding the real wealth, the abundance that can never be taken away. Which, for those of you that have read my book, The Abundance Project, I talk about this very example when I was about to be evicted, and I had this experience of directly contacting Source, and within 3 days, I got an opportunity that ended up paying me a year's worth of income because I realized real abundance. Abundance is not dollar bills. When your dollar bills are gone, that's your real opportunity to know abundance. It's in the valley that you develop your mountaintop mindset. It's in what appears to be lack that you have the opportunity to develop real abundance. It's in the experience of the loss or lack of love and companionship that you have the opportunity to discover and develop real love and real companionship. It's in the experience of the potential lack of health or youthful vitality or vigor or whatever that you have the opportunity to discover what is real health. Many, many years ago, I think it was during World War II, there was a group of individuals in London, I think, where there was all the great bombings going on. And there was just no sense of security in the world, in their world. And this one group of like a Christian sect, they began to contemplate, what is it that can never be destroyed? What is it that can never be lost? And what they began to discover was, for them, it was love. Love was indestructible. Love was eternal. Bombs could not destroy love. And as they began to really bask in that truth and embody this eternal something that no bomb could ever destroy, and they became identified with it, they began to live without fear. And they began to move through the city, helping others and ministering to others. And as bombs fell all around them, not a single individual from that growing group got hurt in any way. They went on through their days having all their needs met, and they basically were living in heaven even while the outer appearances looked like hell. And that's really what the great masters are teaching us. That's what Jesus is saying when he says, stop worrying about the world, take no thought for your life, how you'll be fed, clothed, etc., but seek first the kingdom of heaven within you. He said it was within you, and those things will be added unto you. All the great teachings are teaching us fundamentally the same. What you can see, touch, taste, and measure is not real. Not with an ultimate capital R. It's a relative projection and perception of an infinite perfection. It's what really matters this infinite, eternal something. There is real wealth. There is real health. There is real love, real peace, real joy, real beauty, real abundance. And it's not in the world of conditions. It's spiritual. It's something that's invisible, seemingly. And so I invite you to look at wherever you've lost something, wherever you're grieving the loss of something. I'll give you one other example. During this pandemic and the loss of contact with people, it drove me to have a deeper, especially in the loss of my son as well, to realize that my relationship to you, to my beloveds, to family, friends, is not deeper or even better because we are in physical proximity to each other. That in fact, being in physical proximity, although we do need to a certain extent biologically touch and physical proximity, actually we can take each other much more for granted. And with lacking the physical proximity, there was a deepening of a sense of connection because of the deepening desire to be connected, a falling more in love with connection. And it actually has deepened my sense of intimacy and connection with family and friends, even while my physical proximity to them has decreased. Now, that's only happened because I've made the conscious practice. If you think your sense of connection and love is requiring physical proximity, then during this time, you will have suffered greatly and will continue to. But if you take this teaching that what appears to be lost physically is actually your opportunity to find it in a much deeper place spiritually. And so look at the things you think you've lost over the last year or in general. Make a commitment to start asking and contemplating, what is the real, whatever that is, fill in the blank. And then begin to practice and contemplate that and meditate on that and begin to seek that. If you seek it, you shall find. Begin to seek, begin to pray more than I want to get, fix, change, manipulate, or control these conditions of my life to get the thing I think I've lost. I want to awaken to the real love, real peace, real joy, real beauty, real abundance, real health, real companionship, real home, real safety, not the safety the world can give me, real peace, not the peace the world can give me, real wealth. This is why it says the love of money is the root of all evil, because what it really means is the love of the symbols of abundance. Dollar bills, stocks, bonds, euros, yen, these are symbols. That is not wealth. Wealth is internal, wealth is invisible. Wealth is the invisible something that appears as fruit on the tree, but it's not the fruit. Those are the symbols or the fruits of wealth. And so you don't merely fall in love with the fruits of wealth, you fall in love with the roots of wealth, with the roots of love, with the roots of peace, the roots of joy, the real source of everything that you truly want. That has never been taken away from you, and it can never be added to you. And again, the gift of loss is if you're willing, when something seems to be lost or you're afraid of losing it, that is your cue to begin apprenticing under the real. Asking those questions. What is real, whatever, fill in the blank. What is a real relationship? What is a real companionship? What is real love? What is real peace? What is real joy? What is the real body? What is real health? What is real safety and security? What is the real me? What is the real world? Where do I really live? Who and what am I really? And with each request, with each prayer, with each question, with each contemplation, you are cultivating the inner conditions and making yourself a candidate for revelation and for insight. So that's my teaching today on the Matter versus What Matter series. I invite you to listen again, share it with friends, but practice. Comment below, Come back and comment after you've practiced and let me know how it's going. And stay tuned for more. If you want to get more trainings, go to DerekRydall.com. Check out my free trainings. Go to the Emergence podcast on iTunes or my YouTube channel for a bunch of other free trainings and talks. And until next time, remember to live authentically, love unconditionally, and follow your destiny. Take care, everybody.